Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my corner of the internet. My name is Jason and today we're back with some more of the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Last time we came and spoke to Vivec himself, the man god, or no, sorry, elf god, whatever. The godlike person who is kind of half and half, who decided that, I don't know what he decided. We talked to him! The city's named after him. Yes. Basically, he said to check out his library over here, which is, I guess, different accounts of what happened at Red Mountain. And he says one is his, or his is true. There's a lie in there, but blah, blah, blah. We can go ahead and read them. And I figured that's how we would start things off. Now, we did already read a plan to defeat Dagoth Ur by, based on the fact that we have it here in our inventory. So I figured we'd start from left to right, go through them. Again, just to sort of keep them fresh, all condensed in one place. So there's gonna be a lot of reading at the start of this one, and we'll see where that takes us from. Basically where we go from here. All right. So starting off with the plan to defeat Dagoth Ur. For the past 20 years, the Tribunal have tried unsuccessfully to execute this plan. However, we failed because we were required to stage an assault and simultaneously maintain the ghost fence to prevent the threatened large-scale breakout of Dagoth Ur's blighted hosts. With the Danervarine leading the assault and the Tribunal free to devote their full energies to maintaining the ghost fence, this plan has a greater chance of success. Unfortunately, however, the loss of the artifacts Sunder and Keening and the recent increase in Dagoth Ur's strength poses new problems for the execution of the plan. Therefore, our proposed plan has the following 5 phases. A series of aggressive raids to scout inside the ghost fence. A series of aggressive raids to neutralize Dagoth Ur's ash vampire kin and recover artifacts from the bodies of his kin. An assault of Gate Citadel Veminal to neutralize Dagoth Vemin and recover the artifact hammer Sunder. An assault of Gate Citadel Odrosel to neutralize Dagoth Odros and recover the artifact blade Keening. An assault of Citadel Dagoth with the artifacts Wraithguard, Sunder, and Keening to sever Dagoth Ur's connection to the heart of Lorcan, and thus to destroy Dagoth Ur. Phase 1. Raids inside the ghost fence. The Tribunal Ordinators and Buoyant Armigers are familiar with the terrain and will provide maps and current intelligence reports. The region inside the ghost fence is dangerous, and the Danervarine will need to be familiar with its particular challenges. After measuring skills and resources against Dagoth Ur's defenses, the Danervarine will know better how to pace a campaign, alternating raids with improving skills, getting better equipment, and stockpiling resources. Phase 2. Raids upon Ash Vampire Citadels. Dagoth Ur's kin have become markedly more powerful in recent decades, after remaining stable for thousands of years. If they can be individually isolated and destroyed, they will not be able to support Dagoth Ur in later stages of the war. It may also be that the dramatic increase in their power comes from items enchanted by Dagoth Ur. Salvage of such items might contribute to our resources. Phase 3. Assault on Gate Citadel Veminal. Essential to recover the artifact hammer Sunder for Phase 5. The Ash Vampire Dagoth Vemin has possession of Sunder and probably seeks to discover the secrets of its enchantments. He may also have access to notebooks and journals of Kagranak, that have survived in the Dwemer workshops of Veminal. Phase 4. Assault on Gate Citadel Odrosel. Essential to recover the artifact blade Keening for Phase 5, the Ash Vampire Dagoth Odros has possession of Keening and probably seeks to discover the secrets of its enchantments. He may also have access to notebooks and journals of Kagranak that have survived in the Dwemer workshops of Odrosel. So, yeah, I don't remember reading this. We may have read it. I don't remember reading it. We have it. But things mean a lot more because now I've got it, in my head. I'm like, we have Wraithguard. We're looking at, we got that last episode in case you missed that. And now we're looking at getting Keening and Sunder, and it's telling us that we should also be on the lookout for notebooks and journals. That'll probably tell us more about the story and crap when we go ahead and take those things from these people here. So, I like the way that the game is delivering these things to us, because this, basically what we're going to need to do. Although I doubt that we're going to see any sort of actual war because just because of the engine that Morrowind's done in, basically the game as the game exists, I doubt we are going to see any actual warfare. It's going to be kind of like use your imagination, which is a little bit sad. I would have liked to have seen something like that, because this sounds like it would be really, really cool. Anyways, Phase 5, Assault on Citadel Dagoth. All the previous stages are preparations for this stage. Recent expeditions show that Citadel Dagoth has undergone extensive expansion. The location will need to be explored carefully. The known route to the Heart Chamber will be well defended. Alternative routes may exist. Dagoth Ur will have anticipated our plan to destroy him by attacking the Heart, and he will almost certainly personally oppose approach to the Heart Chamber. Together, the Tribunal could not defeat him, and he has grown stronger since then. Admittedly, the Tribunal had the distraction of maintaining the Ghost Fence simultaneous with fighting Dagoth Ur, but even so, the challenge seems daunting. The adoption of this phased campaign seems to offer the best chances for success. In retrospect, the Tribunal's decision to directly assault Citadel Dagoth rather than proceed step by step through lesser objectives must be seen to have been a serious error. The Tribunal did not feel it had the option of a slow-paced and deliberate campaign, given that they had many other competing priorities, not the least of which was the maintenance of the Ghost Fence and the outer defenses surrounding Red Mountain. The Narrow Vereen, on the other hand, should be best served by a careful step-by-step advance, with the additional advantage of building confidence along the way, while successes would undermine Dagoth Ur's own assurance in his defenses. Now, interesting that they put so much stock in the Narrow Vereen here. Like, is there a particular reason for that? Is that because it gets me kind of thinking here, because they're viewing the Narrow Vereen as like godlike, kind of like just like, you know, Vivec and them in a way, and I wonder if that can kind of explain the, we'll say, difference in power, because I always found it funny how like you could just keep leveling up and you become like this godlike character, but I'm wondering, like, is that just because you're the Narrow Vereen, or is that, you know, is that just, you know, RPG logic? I like the idea of thinking that, you know, you are uniquely able to become more powerful than your average person because of this whole the fact that you basically contain the soul of potentially a god, or it's not really a god, it's just a reincarnated. I don't know, because it's like Vivec and them. They themselves seem to view you as kind of in like a godlike sense ish. Actually, I don't even know if this was written by Vivec. I don't know. Anyways, we'll continue. Employing Kagranak's tools against Dagoth Ur. The source of Dagoth Ur's supernatural power is the Heart of Lorcan. The Heart is also the source of the Tribunal's divine powers. Oh, you know, I think I'm starting to see where things fall apart here. So if that's where the Tribunal's divine powers come from, and is it? No, we already looked at how the Ghost Fence is maintained. Wasn't that like the ancestor spirits? We read about that. Because I'm thinking ahead, because I remember hearing some crap about like people talking about at the time of like Skyrim, Morrowind is like wrecked, and I might be wrong. Like I'm just going by like hearsay, right? What I've heard people say. But if this is the case here, if we succeed in our mission, which I suspect we will, by destroying the Heart, the Tribunal also loses their power, which then in turn means that the asteroid, or the things in suspended animation, which honestly should have been dealt with a long time ago. Like obviously it's not in total stasis. We've been over this in a previous video. That should not have crashed, and that could potentially affect the Ghost Fence, because apparently they are still there seems to be talk above about maintaining the Ghost Fence, which means, you know, if there's any lava or if there's any sort of eruption or if there's anything, that could actually spread across everything. So I guess like yeah, okay, I could see how things could unravel. Like, yeah, you saved the world, but you've also doomed it. You can't kill the devil without killing God. Interesting. During mythic times, the gods took and hid Lorcan's heart beneath Red Mountain as a punishment for creating the mortal plane. The Dwemer discovered the heart while building underground colonies. High Craft Lord Kagranak created enchanted tools intended to tap the power of the heart. The War of the First Council was fought to prevent this sacrilege. Sacrilege. Sorry, I wasn't content with the way I said that. Kagranak's use of these tools and the disappearance of the Dwemer race marked the end of the war. Kagranak's tools were discovered by Lord Nerevar and Dagoth Ur. Dagoth Ur was left to guard the tools, while Nerevar came to consult with us, his advisors. In Nerevar's absence, Dagoth Ur experimented with the tools upon the heart and was corrupted. We returned to discover a deranged Dagoth Ur who refused to turn over the tools. When he attacked us, we drove him away. We left Red Mountain with the tools, and subsequently, Sothasil discovered their secrets. Collectively, we used the tools to establish a connection with the heart, enabling ourselves to transform our mortal natures. Thus, we became the Tribunal. Okay, interestingly, this is interesting. There's something missing here. What happens to Nerevar? Because down here we became the Tribunal because there was 3 of them. Somewhere between this event here and this event here, Nerevar goes missing. So I'm trying to figure out here. Did Nerevar, was he betrayed before they ascended to godhood? In which case, yeah, he's not a god, or he's not divine, whatever. Or was it afterwards? And then that would explain what I was talking about earlier, about how we could become so powerful. I don't know. Dagoth Ur had survived our attacks, and without the tools, in a manner not well understood, Dagoth Ur also managed to establish a connection with the heart and to transform himself into an immortal being. Interesting, okay. Our plan to destroy Dagoth Ur also runs the risk of destroying the Tribunal. That's what I just said. The plan is to permanently disrupt Kagranak's enchantments upon the heart, severing connections with Dagoth Ur and ourselves, and rendering us all once again mortal. A mortal Kagranak may then be destroyed by mundane means. The loss of godhood and the possible death of the Tribunal are judged a necessary risk and sacrifice. The normal procedure for establishing connection with the heart is a 3-step process. The wearer of Wraithguard strikes the heart with the hammer, Sunder, causing the heart to produce a pure tone. Then the wearer of the Wraithguard strikes the heart with the blade Keening, shattering the pure tone into a prism of tone shades. These tone shades are then imprinted upon the substance of the wearer of Wraithguard, giving him an immortal and divine nature. Wait, so by using Sunder and Keening on the heart at this moment here, do we not give ourselves an immortal and divine nature? The Nerevarine will not be taught the secret rituals required to perform the 3rd step. Instead, the Nerevarine will strike the heart with Keening for a 2nd time, causing its tones to diverge into unstable patterns of interference. Further repeated strikes with Keening will further disrupt the tones, with the ultimate result of shattering and dispelling Kagranak's original enchantments, binding the heart, thereby severing the heart's links with Dagoth Ur and with any surviving Heartwights. That's a new term. And with the Tribunal. Destroying Kagranak's enchantments on the heart will also stop the corrupt effusion of the heart's divine power and end the blight on Morrowind. Well, that's interesting. So, like, we give ourselves, I guess, a temporary divinity, and then we use that temporary divinity to remove our own divinity? That's what it sounds like to me. The Nerevarine may be tempted to steal the power of the heart. Dagoth Ur and Sothasil alone know this secret. Dagoth Ur may, in extremity, propose to teach the Nerevarine to use Kagranak's tools to become a god. We doubt that the Nerevarine is fool enough to trust Dagoth Ur and are content to take this risk. I don't know, you know what? I'm sitting here and I'm kind of like, you know what? Dagoth Ur does, like, by this story, does seem to be kind of a victim of this kind of crap. Like, yes, he's gone bad, he's gone corrupt, we gotta take him down. But part of me's like, I want to take down the Tribunal. These guys, they kind of sound like jerks, just saying. Be warned, the Nerevarine cannot safely equip either Keening or Sunder unless wearing Wraithguard. The Nerevarine will be injured every moment while holding either of these artifacts unless protected by Wraithguard. Persistence will be rewarded with death. If Nerevarine can equip an item while not wearing Wraithguard and receive no injury, the item is a counterfeit. One last note. Dagoth Ur must not get hold of Wraithguard. The Nerevarine must prepare and use a recall or Almzivi intervention if there's any risk of death or capture. The element of surprise. Dagoth Ur will not expect you to destroy Kagranak's enchantments on the heart. Like, why not? The guy's obviously peering into people's minds. We have these papers out in the open of our attack plan. Well, I guess it's not that out in the open. Well, I don't know. I received a copy. It was in my pocket. He does not know it is possible. He would not do it himself, and he knows we have never tried it. he will not believe anyone would want to sacrifice the promise of such power. Further, advancement in House Dagoth, as in all Grey 8 houses, is by challenge and confrontation within the hierarchy. Then the Nerevarines' challenges and defeats of Ash Vampires and battles with the 6th house will be viewed in that light. Dagoth Ur and his kin may assume the Nerevarines' ambition is to control the heart. Given that assumption, it is only reasonable that the Nerevarine would try to defeat each of Dagoth Ur's subordinates in turn, working up to Dagoth Ur. If the Nerevarine can defeat Dagoth Ur and control the heart, so much the better. But logically, the Nerevarine would wish rise as high in the hierarchy as possible before cutting a deal with the head of the house. Dagoth Ur should try to recruit the Nerevarine into House Dagoth. It may be possible to pretend to join him, then betray him. However, any attempt to deceive him will be very risky. House Dagoth has a tradition of subterfuge and treachery, and because he is a deceiver, he will accept deception. I'm wondering, I'm like, will this play out? Will I actually be able to pretend? And if so, should I work on my speechcraft, like my personality skill? Like, I'm like, will my stats come into play there? I hope that pays off. I hope my excitement pays off here. Closing remarks. We place no compulsion upon the Nerevarine to adhere to the plans described here. We believe that they offer the best chance of destroying Dagoth Ur. But we have also chosen to place our trust in the Nerevarines' judgment and skill. Frankly, we see no alternative. Why? Like, I don't understand why the Nerevarine is this special person capable of doing this. It's not really explained. If there are doubts or questions, speak with Vivec. He has agreed to serve as the Nerevarines' guide and counselor for this campaign. It may be that if the Nerevarine succeeds, the Tribunal will not survive. Such sentiments as might have been expressed to the Tribunal should, in that case, be addressed to the land and people of Morrowind. May the happy convergence of fortune and prayer meet in our destiny. On behalf of Lady Almalexia and Lord Sothasil, Vivec. So Vivec wrote this one. And note how he did omit the part where, hey, where did Nerevar go? So to me, that's one sort of sign that, I think he's kind of lying. Because we kind of have to decide, right? Who's telling the truth? Because that's kind of the challenge that Vivec posed to us last time, right? Who's really telling the truth here? Make up your mind for yourself. And he didn't even mention what happens to Nerevar at any point. Or even to Sothasil. I've actually, yeah, okay. I'm like, way back, when I first got Morrowind, I didn't complete this main quest, but I did complete Tribunal, so I kind of know, I did have some spoilers. Yeah, we'll wait until next time for that. All right, let's, oh dang, we've got a lot of reading. This might as well be like the Morrowind Library Club. We're just gonna read a whole library here. For one piece of paper, there's an awful lot written on it. Just saying. All right, the Battle of Red Mountain. I swear we've read this one as well, but you know what? Like I said, we're just going to consolidate all this reading into one video, basically, I think. Yeah. All right, the Battle of Red Mountain and the Rise and Fall of the Tribunal. Now, who wrote this? I wonder, is it written? Yeah, this one is written by Vivec. Yeah, this one's written by Vivec as well. So the following is a transcript of the words of Lord Vivec addressed to his dissident priest, Meller Omain, who confronted Vivec with the Ashlander traditions surrounding the Battle of Red Mountain, and with prophecies of the Nerevarine and two unnamed magistrates of the Inquisition who joined Vivec in interrogating the dissident priests. Okay. Who can clearly recall the events of the distant past? But you have asked me to tell you, in my own words, the events surrounding the Battle of Red Mountain, the birth of the Tribunal, and the prophecies of a Nerevar reborn. Here's what I can tell you. Wait, who started these prophecies? Like, who's like, hey, wait, Nerevar's coming back, and everyone's like, what? Like, where did that come from? That hasn't been answered for us yet. When the Chimer first abandoned the herds and tents of their nomadic ancestors and built the first great houses, we loved the Daedra and worshipped them as gods. But our brethren, the Dwemer, scorned the Daedra and mocked our foolish rituals and preferred instead their gods of reason and logic. So the Chimer and the Dwemer were always at bitter war until the Nords came and invaded Resdayn. Only then did the Chimer and Dwemer put away their strife and join together to cast out the invaders. Once the Nords were driven out, General Nerevar of the Chimer... Chimer? I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember. The Chimer, that was another whole race of elves, wasn't it? Because I seem to remember reading something about the Chimer, they were cursed or something for some reason, and that's why they became the Dunmer, I think? I might be wrong on that one, I don't remember, sorry. But interesting that we were not actually Dunmer. General Nerevar of the Chimer and General Dumac of the Dwemer, who had come to love and respect one another, resolved to make peace between their peoples. In that time, I was but a junior counselor to Nerevar, and Nerevar's queen, Almalexia, and his other favorite counselor, Sotha always doubted that such a peace might long survive, given the bitter disputes between Chimer and Dwemer, but by negotiation and compromise, Nerevar and Dumac somehow managed to preserve a fragile peace. So we were married to Almalexia, right? Nerevar's queen, Almalexia. Junior counselor. So Vivec was at the bottom of the totem pole, kind of thing. Like he was like it basically went Nerevar, Almalexia, and then Sotha was the favorite counselor, and then Vivec was at the bottom. Oh, that's interesting. Because I've always got the impression, like when we're reading the stories and based on what maybe I might be remembering wrong, but what I remember from Tribunal, I always got the impression that Sotha was kind of remorseful. Like he went along with it, but he didn't like how you know what transpired. That's interesting. I wasn't really aware exactly how that what the relation was with all of them, but interesting. Okay, cool. But when Dagoth Ur, Lord of House Dagoth, and trusted as a friend by both Nerevar and the Dwemer, brought us proof that High Engineer Kagranak of the Dwemer had discovered the heart of Lorcan, and that he had learned how to tap its powers, and was building a new god, a mockery of Chimer faith, and a fearsome weapon, we all urged Nerevar to make war on the dwarves and to destroy this threat to Chimer beliefs and security. Nerevar was troubled. He went to Dumac and asked if what Dagoth Ur said was true, but Kagranak took great offense and asked whom Nerevar thought he was, that he might presume to judge the affairs of the Dwemer. Nerevar was further troubled and made pilgrimage to Holamayan, the sacred temple of Azura, and Azura confirmed that all of Dagoth Ur said was indeed true, and that the creation of a new god of the Dwemer should be prevented at all costs. When Nerevar came back and told us what the goddess had said, we felt our judgments confirmed and again counseled him to war, chiding Nerevar for his naive trust in friendship and reminding Nerevar of his duty to protect the faith and security of the Chimer against the impiety and dangerous ambitions of the Dwemer. Dwemer? I'm going to keep saying Dwemer. You can deal with it. Then Nerevar went back to Vardenfell one last time, hoping that negotiations and compromise might once again preserve the peace. But this time, the friends Nerevar and Dumac quarreled bitterly, and as a result, the Chimer and Dwemer went to war. The Dwemer, darn it, were well defended by their fortress at Red Mountain, but Nerevar's cunning drew most of Dumac's armies out into the field and pinned them there, while Nerevar, Dagoth Ur, and a small group of companions could make their way into the Heart Chamber by secret means. There, Nerevar the Chimer King, met Dumac the Dwarf King, and they both collapsed from grievous wounds and draining magics. With Dumac fallen and threatened by Dagoth Ur and others, Kagranak turned his tools upon the heart, and Nerevar said he saw Kagranak and all his Dwemer companions at once disappear from the world. In that instant, Dwemer everywhere disappeared without a trace, but Kagranak's tools remained, and Dagoth Ur seized them, and he carried them to Nerevar, saying, "That fool Kagranak has destroyed his own people with these things. We should destroy them right away, lest they fall into the wrong hands." Okay, so Nerevar was wounded here, but it's by the sounds of things he survived. Because I'm trying to see where Vivec, how Vivec explains Nerevar's disappearance. But Nerevar was resolved to confer with his queen and his generals, who had foreseen that this war would come, and whose counsel he would not ignore again. "I will ask the tribunal what we shall do with them, for they have had wisdom in the past that I had not. Stay here, loyal Dagoth Ur, until I return." So Nerevar told Dagoth Ur to protect the tools in the Heart Chamber until he returned. Okay, I could see that happening. So far, so good. Then Nerevar was carried to us, where we waited on the slopes of Red Mountain, and he told us all that had transpired under Red Mountain. What Nerevar had said was that the Dwemer had used special tools to turn their people into immortals, and that the Heart of Lorkhan held wondrous powers. Only later did we hear from others present that Dagoth Ur had thought the Dwemer destroyed, not made immortal, and no one knows for sure what really happened there. Okay. After hearing Nerevar, we gave our counsel as he requested, proposing we should preserve these tools in trust for the welfare of the Chimer people, and who knows, perhaps the Dwemer are not gone forever, but merely transported to some distant realm from which they may someday return to threaten our security once again. Therefore, we need to keep these tools to study them and their principles so that we may be safe in future generations. And though Nerevar voices grave misgivings, he was willing to be ruled by our council under one condition, that we all together should swear a solemn oath upon Azura that the tools would never be used in the profane manner that the Dwemer had intended. We all readily agreed and swore solemn oaths at Nerevar's dictation. So then we went with Nerevar back into Red Mountain and met with Dagoth Ur. Dagoth Ur refused to deliver the tools to us, saying they were dangerous and we could not touch them. Dagoth Ur seemed to be irrational, insisting that only he could be trusted with the tools. And then we guessed that he had somehow been affected by his handling of the tools, but now I feel sure that he had privately learned the powers of the tools, and had in some confused way decided he must have them for himself. Then Nerevar and our guard resorted to force to secure the tools. Somehow Dagoth Ur and his retainers escaped, but we gained the tools and delivered them to Sotha Sil for study and safekeeping. For some years we kept the oaths we swore to Azura with Nerevar, but during that time in secret Sotha Sil must have studied the tools and divined their mysteries, and at last he came to us with a vision of a new world of peace, with justice and honor for nobles, and health and prosperity for the commoners, with the tribunal as immortal patrons and guides, and dedicating ourselves to this vision of a better world. We made a pilgrimage to Red Mountain and transformed ourselves with the power of Kagranak's tools. Okay. Nerevar stops being referred to, stops being mentioned up here. And no sooner than we had completed our rituals and begun to discover our newfound powers, the Daedra Lord Azura appeared and cursed us for our forsworn oaths. By her powers of prophecy, she assured us that her champion, Nerevar, true to his oath, would return to punish us for our perfidy, and to make sure such profane knowledge might never again be used to mock and defy the will of the gods. Okay, so Azura herself said that Nerevar would return. So it's not like any sort of special godhood or anything. It's kind of actually being blessed, it's like by Azura herself, that you be brought back to life, or basically reincarnated. Okay, there we go. That's part of the puzzle I was wondering about. Interesting though, at this point here, Nerevar's already dead. But Sotha Sil said to her, "The old gods are cruel and arbitrary and distant from the hopes and fears of Myr. Your age is past. We are the new gods, born of the flesh and wise and caring of the needs of our people. Spare us your threats and chiding. Inconstant spirit. We are bold and fresh and will not fear you." And then in that moment, all Chimer were changed into Dunmer, and our skins turned ashen and our eyes into fire. Of course, we only knew at that time that this had happened to us. But Azura said, "This is not my act, but your act. You have chosen your fate and the fate of your people, and all the Dunmer shall share your fate. From now to the end of time, you think yourselves gods, but you are blind, and all is darkness." And Azura left us alone in darkness, and we were all afraid. But we put on brave faces and went forth from Red Mountain to build the new world of our dreams. And the new world we shaped was glorious and generous, and the worship of the Dunmer fervent and grateful. The Dunmer were at first afraid of their new faces, but Sotha Sil spoke to them, saying that it was not a curse but a blessing, a sign of their changed natures, and sign of their special favor they might enjoy as new Myr. No longer barbarians trembling before ghosts and spirits, but civilized Myr, speaking directly to their immortal friends and patrons. The three faces of the tribunal, and we were all inspired by Sotha Sil's speech and vision, and took heart. Okay, maybe he was totally in on this too. And over time, we crafted the customs and institutions of a just and honorable society, and the land of Resdain knew millennia of peace, equity, and prosperity unknown to other savage races. I gotta do some reading on how old Vivec and all them actually are, because I'm like, how long has this been how long has this been going on? Because Arena happened, I guess, within a lifetime of Morrowind, so, and they were already done with then, so, you know, I guess, you know, you have a few hundred years or whatever. Yeah, I could, okay, that works, that tracks. Wait. Yeah, I've got to find that out, and then I've got to find out how long ago Elder Scrolls Online was. And I got to see if the Dunmer are in there. I'm sorry, I'm like, I need to check for consistency. But beneath Red Mountain, Dagoth Ur had survived, and even as the light of our bold new world shined ever more brightly beneath Red Mountain, the darkness gathered, a darkness that was close kin to the bright light that Sothasil coaxed from the heart of Lorcan with the tools of Kagrenac. As the darkness grew, we fought it and crafted walls to confine it, but we never could destroy it. For the source of the darkness was the same source as the source of our own divine inspiration. And in these latter days of Morrowind, reduced to a subjugated province of the Western Empire, as the glory of the temple fades and the dark tide rises from Red Mountain, we are reminded of Azura and her promised champion's return. We have waited blind and in darkness, mere shadows, drained of our ardent vision, in shame of our folly, in fear of our judgment, and in hope of our deliverance. We do not know if the Outlander claiming to fulfill the prophecies of the Nerevarine is our old companion, Nerevar Reborn, or a pawn of the Emperor, or a catspaw of Azura, or some simple twist of fate. But we insist you adhere to temple doctrine and conform to the strictures, dividing the hierographa from the apographa, and that you not speak that which must not be spoken openly. Act as a dutiful priest should, in accordance with your vows of obedience to the canons and archcanons, and all will be forgiven. Defy me, and you will know what it is to stand against a god. Well, you're all high and mighty now, aren't you, Vivec? Yep. Interestingly, they don't mention Nerevar or what happens to Nerevar at all. Like, Vivec does not. It's like he avoids that at all costs. He does not want to talk about it. Honestly, I suspect, yeah, that this is where we are. You know, okay, we might get the answer in the other two, other two stories, because he did say it was his account and then another account. My guess is when Nerevar goes back and he's like, him and Hong and stuff, they kill him. And when they go back, Dagoth Ur's like, where's Nerevar? And Dagoth Ur, realizing what the heck is going on and the power that, you know, that the heart could have and stuff, tries to stop them, realizing that they have this, we'll say, very unjust or very evil, we'll say, intent. So at this point here, that's what I'm trying to read between the lines. I'm guessing basically what happens here, because Vivec does not give us any insight into what happened to Nerevar. That took a lot longer than I expected. I'm actually out of time after just reading these two, so I guess this is going to be a big two-parter. Next time we'll do the next two, Dagoth Ur's plans and Nerevar at Red Mountain. I'm pretty sure we've read these before, but like I said, I want to have them all consolidated into one video. So yeah, this video and the next one is basically just reading, and then after this we'll get back to things as normal. If you liked this little dive into the lore and into the story, and if you liked this video just in general because of Vivec's sweet abs, then go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. If you didn't, I'm very sorry. We'll get back to adventuring soon. But give it a thumbs down. That's okay. It's all right. It's all right to dislike things. That's awesome. Either way, let me know what you thought in the comment section. And until next time, I would like to ask you all to game on.